Hi, welcome to the Pints Polishing Podcast. I'm Marshall. That's Nick. You can find us at hyperCLEANstore.com if you want to go check out the products. If you want to interact with us, hey, great place to go over that Facebook group, hyperCLEAN Specialists, or you want to do some how-tos and see some stuff coming out, go to the YouTube channel. That's really where some neat new stuff is coming. Looking forward to the next videos, huh? Those are going to be good ones. We get to see some processes and dive into some really great things that, Nick, you came out and put together. So those are coming out next. We're excited about them. Let's get in some buy and sell.
Well, it's Christmas time. And so with that is family visits and going and seeing Santa. So we have the ultimate.
Wait, it's early December. You're already going to see Santa? Just get it out of the way early.
Well, you got Christmas cards you got to get out. You know, you got all these rules these days. So we go to this chocolate factory, which is really, really nice. We went last year. It's a great place to take the kids. They got the lights, they got Santa. Well, and I'll give my dad, who's getting a little older, who, you know, isn't the most observant all the time. We're standing in line to get into the place. Was probably a 30-minute wait in line just to get in the door and then go through the lights, whatever. And he goes, you know what? A lot of short people here. You know how old guys do it? I mean, you heard the old guys. They just say whatever.
My dad used to say the
100%. They just say whatever. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I'm like, hey, good. Yeah, you're right. And anyway, this leads to the story down the road. This is a off-the-wall old man comment that leads to him being factually correct. So we wade through the Christmas lights. We get to Santa. We wait in another line. By the way, what a deal you got with this buying the Santa photography. I mean, you want to talk about raking it in. Well, let me tell you when that doesn't go so well. So I'm holding one of my daughters. Jess is holding the other daughter. We're standing next to Santa. Everybody's having a good time. Take a few pictures. We go to buy the pictures. My daughter and my head is cut off because the guy didn't readjust the camera. So we go and look at the pictures, and it's like half my head and half my daughter's head. And I'm like, and my dad just pipes up. He goes, I told you there were a lot of short people here. And I'm like, okay. No problem. They're like real apologetic. They're like, we're going to go ahead and reshoot it. Just walk right back to Santa here. We'll get you taken care of. At that time, the kids start to have a meltdown. Been a little bit too much, around Santa here now. We can't get another picture. So our Christmas picture, I put a spin on it. I go, hey, we get to have a screwed up Santa picture. It's funny, this and that. We get it printed out, and you get the digital ones that you can go get online or whatever. It was worse when they printed it out. So now I sold everybody on this funny, hey, let's just have a funny picture. It'll be a nice joke. We'll have it for life, whatever. To now we're having a conversation on a second visit to Santa. I got to shut the whole world down. I said, I did my part. Game over. I'm out. So let me tell you, though, when I saw the look on my family's face, especially my stepmother and Jess, when that picture wasn't right, boy, oh boy, that stuff gets real serious real fast. I had to say several times, it's a Santa photo. Relax. It's okay. We'll work it out. And boy, Santa ruined my Christmas after we waited in all these lines. The only thing that saved it is I bought everybody some spiced cider at, $30 a pop, by the way.
I'm in.
$30 spiced, cider. And that calmed everybody down for 5 seconds. Then we get in the car, not calm at all. They start looking at the photos. I can't believe this guy did this, blah, blah, blah. All over a Santa photo. So I'm going to have to sell the Santa experience and an old man making a hour and a half earlier, view on the world. Boy, was he right. And, sometimes you got to listen to those old guys that say off the wall stuff.
Listen, spiced cider, cold, best spiced cider I had is down in Chicago. They got this it's like a Russian Christmas or something like that. They put up this thing every year, and I was down there visiting. And listen, dude, you get some of the most amazing spice cider. It's hot, and of course, you know what else is in it can warm you up. Really nice, you know. It's a great time. You don't like spice cider?
It was good. I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it, but I had to get it to calm down. Everybody was why I had to get it. It was like, okay, guys, let's take a deep breath. This thing went a little bit sideways. I thought it was funny. It's like, dude, just relax. Can everybody shit happens. It's like, dude, what was the photographer thinking? And I'm like, oh my God, over a Santa photo just seems a little bit outlandish to me.
Listen, your head got cut off. I think most everybody that's owning a Dodge truck right now, Dustin, can we all say it? Well, how big a boy are you?
Yeah. I mean, not that big, but according to the crowd, I was a little bit of an outlier, right? So it was like, I get why the guy and the photographer standing there, he's feeling awkward. And then because you and I have messed around with the camera, you more than me, what people don't realize is sometimes what looks good on the camera doesn't come out so great. So I have a little bit more leeway with this whole thing. So I'm the wrong guy to this, you know, to calm my family down, because I just don't think it's a big deal anyway. I'm like, hey, it'll be funny. Like, it'll be a nice memory that, like, remember when that guy did, it's like, dude, it just completely upended the night. The kids got all fucking bent out of shape. It's like, okay, man, it's all good. Let's just go
Crazy
home.
Santa pictures are also some of the most comical things you look back on.
That's what I said. I said, this will be something when they're 15 we can all have a laugh about. Wrong. I mean, wrong. Evidently, it was the wrong thing to say.
Wrong thing. All right. So I'm selling. It's funny. You're selling. I'm already selling Christmas too. Like, here's how my Monday started. And this is the way it goes. We had to take one of the vehicles over, get some work done. And you've seen me when I get into a new vehicle, doesn't go well for me in trying to understand the radio. It just is what it is, right? Like, you remember
Tommy Tech. People don't know what we deal with at HQ because Tommy Tech struggles. Printers, phones, radios. I mean,
so I'm forced to listen to Happy Honda Days, right? Terrible. Do you get those commercials? We get them. Like, Happy. It's always seems to be. And listen, I know a popular thing right now is this big Chevy commercial. It's being pushed around and it is. It's a great job. I love to see what car manufacturers do around the holidays. I know Lexus, they're popular for the bow. Yeah. You've got some people that really dive in to take a moment, and I can appreciate it. The Chevy commercial about the the grandmother and letting her go back and remember everything as the granddaughter's driving around. Like, it's cool. It's great. Is it going to sell cars? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Is it starts getting me really upset, and I'm going, I can't handle this anymore. I'm done with the Honda Days commercial. I'm already finished with. And then what happens? Well, you get it right after the Honda Day commercial. What do they play? Christmas Carol already.
Oh no!
What?
Yeah.
At that point, I'm doing everything I can to get my phone so I can do the radio and figure something out. And what happens? Coffee, all down. Right?
Oh wow! Just lost your whole life over there.
Oh man! Like I said, hopefully your Monday started better than mine. Like, it was brutal. Happy Honda Days to Christmas carols to coffee. Oh, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm selling Christmas carols already. Be done with it.
Yeah, it seems overdone at times, right? I mean, do you ever get that feel on your end? Like, can we just mix it in? Does it have to be like so in my face? Right? Do you ever get that feeling? It's like, dude, if this was mixed in, I really wouldn't have an issue. I really wouldn't have a problem at all. But it's not mixed in. It's sort of like all encompassing. I'm listening to this station and it's Christmas 24/7. It's like, it's whatever. It's a rock station. It's a whatever station. And you're like, geez, oh, Pete, can we all just take a breath and just do this a little bit more 2023 style, a little bit more tact, and not so in your face, but it's everywhere now. I mean, I don't know what it is. This feels like the most desperate Christmas season I can remember in a very long time.
Mm-hmm. It's already that way. Hey, so one of the cool things that I did see, though, after the Chevy commercial was this really cool dude sitting out in Vegas in a lawn chair and flip-flops with 1,000 drones that he was controlling. So there was this video of him putting on this big aerial display at F1, right? Like, I know cool. F1's over, but some of that stuff was just amazing to watch.
I mean, one of the things that we found out coming out of F1 is there was all this negative publicity around it, but now all the casino numbers are in and all the what took place, and you go, oh, no, Thanks. They were right.
That's what I was going to ask. What was the overall take? Has it like, okay, we doing this? This is always, we're happy.
Yeah, I mean, it was massive. Like, I mean, I think there was a lot more spending than people saw with their eyes, right? Because a lot of times, for those that haven't been to Vegas, what happens in the casinos, a lot of looker-ons, a lot of people walking the casino floor but not spending money, right? They're just kind of around the casino. I think what they found from the F1 crowd was like, hey, there weren't as many people in the casino, but when they came in the casino, there was 100,000 bet, 200,000 bet for a human being, 300,000 bet. Some guy at the Wynn left a $350,000 tip, so everybody that worked that night got $1,000 each or something like that, something crazy. So I just think it was one of those things that we haven't seen the city appear so dead, but so much money exchanging hands, and every crowd's different, right? And what you saw is there maybe weren't as many bodies walking around, but the bodies that were walking around were definitely spending money.
And all that construction, was it all worth it? You know?
Well, I mean, if you're on a casino, it seems like they were definitely saying they were worth it. Like, hey, you know, we had some headaches, but you know what? We kind of have record numbers. It's like, yeah, we'll take this.
So record numbers is what I'm hoping for. Got the call earlier. It's official. Titan backed into a pole and it's totaled. Done.
Wow. And I can't believe if people knew where he backed into a pole, I just don't think they would believe it. I mean, you've driven that route how many times? 8,000 on the low end? I mean,
but right, this is what we joke about, having such an old vehicle, and then you literally hit a pole, and they're going to total it out. Like,
so what are you going to do?
That's my question. What are we going to do? This is going to be the fun.
So what
thing.
I would do, I would do the classic thing. So if you've never had a totaled vehicle, there's a little secret here you can do.
Thank you.
First of all, you can tell the insurance company, I want to buy it back. Okay. So they'll buy it back. They'll sell it to you for whatever the number is. Again, this all has to be reasonable. So everybody listening to this, obviously I'm not telling you to buy a $10,000 vehicle for $50,000 from the insurance company. But a lot of times, let's say you have a $10,000 vehicle, they'll be like, hey, we'll sell it back to you for $2,500. We just want to get it off our books. Okay. I'll give you $2,500. So you buy it off of them for $2,500. Now, mind you, they gave you some amount of money towards the totaled vehicle. So you're getting a check on the other side. So buy the vehicle back. You got a body shop buddy. You tell them, hey, I want the tailgate and I want the light fixed. I don't care about repairing the body panel, whatever. Just make sure I have a working light. Make sure I have a working tailgate. Maybe he tells you that's $1,000. You're all into the truck for $3,500, but they gave you $10,000 for the totaled vehicle. So you're up $6,500, right? So when you have a totaled vehicle that you want to keep in service, because whatever, like for you, this is just an extra car. It's a mile eater. This is what I tell people about my older truck in my company. Having a mile eater is really underrated. I drive so many miles going and looking at cars, going and looking at my guys' work, you know, back and forth to work. If I don't have to put the miles on my third car, my BMW, it's invaluable to me to have this truck on the road. If it's invaluable to you, or if it's just a car you really like and the damage is kind of superficial, which it is in your case, I know there's a little tailgate issue, but it's not like the frame got bent or, you know, something like that. The reality is that's the move to make.
Yeah. And, you know, people are having questions now about insurance. They put it even into the specialist group, and people go, you know, insurance is always hard to work with. Is it the low ball number that I'm going to get? You know, is that why they become hard to work with and they don't really want to pay out and they're always going to screw you? It seems to be always the way that you go into these moments, and it's like,
and look, yeah, I got to find out. We had a fender bender and a Lexus SUV that, you know, is probably a $75,000 or $80,000 SUV that got in a fender bender. The hoods, you know, kind of off kilter. The front bumper's destroyed now. It's only got 15,000 miles on it, so it's not going to get totaled, or we're not getting rid of the vehicle. So I'm going to be going through the same thing. And I always tell people, if you're a detailer and you don't know what you're doing, this is not, you know, something I would tell you to do, but this is something we do in my business where we'll assess the vehicle for a customer. In this case, I'll be assessing my own vehicle. I'll be writing up, hey, this is what I think needs to be done. I then take it to a trusted body shop, which every detailer should have, and say, hey, this is, you know, you tell me what you see, we'll come together. Because there are times, remember, cosmetically, body shops aren't going to see what you see. Like, I want the hood repainted. So I'm going to tell him, because he's a friend of mine, hey, you need to put repainting the hood on here. Now, the reason is because the hood came with like a defect in it from the manufacturer that I want fixed. I'm going to put it on this estimate. Now, whether our insurance company okays that or not is a different discussion. But here's what I find. When you competently know what you're talking about, so be it the body shop you're working with or you, the detailer, are acting as the intermediary, you can get a lot of things fixed. The problem is when they're left to their own devices, these insurance companies are going to stick it to you. And don't be fooled. There's a lot of body shops that are going to stick it to you. I know we got some in the specialist group that are going to take this offensively or whatever. I got news for you. You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of body shops that do right by the insurance companies to stay on their good side, do completely wrong by the end consumer, so they have a good relationship with the adjuster. They have a good relationship with the insurance company. Therefore, they get more work, right? Because a lot of people just don't know what body shop to go to. If the adjuster is in control and they have one shop that'll play ball or 5 shops that are play ball, who do you think they're going to? So that's the cycle of this. And so you just got to be on top of it, and you got to figure your way through it. Like, the one thing I'm not going to accept is you're going to put all OEM parts on it, or we're not going to sign off on the fixing. Then it's a standoff. It's a real standoff, and you got to have the guts to stand off. Remember, you're going to be in a rental car. You're going to be just chalking up bills. You know, in my family, we need a large SUV, so we're looking at $150 a day minimum to rent a large SUV for my family we could be in this thing $4,000 and $5,000 pretty quick, that I'm hoping to get back from the insurance company because they drag their feet. But if they don't, I'm on the hook. So you got to play some games that are real uncomfortable, that you got to be in a good financial position to play.
Yeah, the not fun one on the rental car for me was, that Nissan big old NV 2500 that I had, or SV, I can't remember what. And I went through and I hit an awning at a drive-through. Now, they paid for it because they didn't list their height requirement, and I forced my agenda and made them get to do the insurance stuff on it. Well, it took a while. And what did I do? I rented a commercial vehicle. Those are even more. The rental bill on that, they were furious. It's like, hey, what am I supposed to do?
And look, you got to realize that's on your card. That's on your dime until you get that check. And if you can't pay off the credit card bill, you're paying interest on it, right? And that's where becoming, financially sound. There's these things that happen in life. We talk about this all the time with detailing businesses, where guys think that just getting by is owning a business. Life happens. Now I'm talking about a deductible. We may have a non-insured motorist. This guy was basically a DUI, clink. He went to the clink from the scene. I mean, this guy was high, hit my family's vehicle. This may fall on my deductible if he's uninsured. Then we have to get the rental car thing situated. And they've already told us, they're like, oh, we'll give you $75 a day. It's like, what can I rent for $75 a day? So the rental bill on some level is going to be on me. And so you get into this world where a lot of people get really, really uncomfortable that, your car gets in a wreck, man, just barely getting by turns into a big headache.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so last week, we talked about how excited we were of the great Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? Wonderful. I got to give an update from HQ. Got to give an update because to me, I was celebrating all week. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't, because I didn't want to jinx it. But then we finally had one. So most people and we got some emails that new customers that order gallons and the heavier stuff, we always put those out later in the week after a big sale because we realized what UPS, they get overrun. And so, it just helps those bigger packages get out later and better, if we just hold them a little bit. So most people are getting those today and tomorrow, the heavy stuff. And we did finally get one damage. One customer has a damage. And it's like, but we still celebrate because, golly, one out of all this massive. And you go, listen, that's probably the bigger celebration for HQ, how much the team had put in. And, geez, the miraculous UPS, I guess, Nick, must have been they got their raise and now they're good to go. Boy,
it seems like maybe they were acting pretty angry over the last 18 months with HQ because their contract wasn't what they wanted it to be. The other thing is, you and the team there have done a good job of constantly revisiting packaging, how to get things to people, making sure it looks good, making sure it's not damaged. This is where, all you guys trying to grow a business, team is everything. Our team really put their heads together the last year and said, hey, we want to limit damages. For the most part, we've limited damages all year long. For Black Friday and the amount of volume we did to only have what appears to be, let's say, less than 5 damages, because not everything's been delivered. Less than 5 damages is pretty incredible. I mean, I know this kind of an off-topic thing, but guys, I mean, this is what it's all about. When your team is let loose to do the right thing and you kind of can't consistently improve, this is where you find out, and there's no doubt that our team did an amazing job.
It's just as we call chess, right? You just love celebrating chess moves at work, and didn't seem to be a big thing until it hit, and it was like, oh man, I gotta talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started together, Black Friday was a nightmare because it was like we just had massive damage, and so
20%
now you look
almost. I mean, it was massive.
Yeah, you look at 3 years later where we're at. It's everybody putting their head together, working together. It's awesome to see.
So I got another email that I got from somebody that I celebrate too. Is an email. He kind of give us an update, right? And I love those where people want to come back and want to say thanks. And I'm grateful because I know this guy listens, and the others of you that listen that send in emails. There's been multiple people recently, which I really like, saying, hey, we listen to you and we're really grateful for what you guys say and what you talk about. And this guy, he found us from somebody that had installed one of our coatings. Well, so he started buying products. Well, what's that do? That really made us start going, hey, we got to really talk about this more, because overall building this big ecosystem community, in a sense, really where it goes long stream, right? Long tail, handling and being the specialist for your customers, having hyperCLEAN products so that when you install a coating, then your customer can walk out of the door with the products to take care and maintain their car. Because that's what this guy really was. So he wanted to make sure that after he got a hyperCLEAN coating, that he had products from hyperCLEAN to care for his vehicle.
Yeah, look, we always tell people the first thing we tell you to do is do the maintenance for your customers, especially on coated vehicles. It's very straightforward for you, a nice little additive to your business. If you're a DIYer, you want to carry our products to maintain your hyperCLEAN coating. I think the part of this email, number one, is that guy deserves a lot of credit. He was very educated on what was installed on his car and logically knew to go to that company to ask what he should do to maintain that coating. It also is a little bit of a learning moment. Why didn't he get the products from his detailer? Because his detailer didn't offer maintenance. So once you're not going to offer the maintenance yourself, the next best thing you can do is carry some products, send them off with a wash bucket and an interior bucket, whatever the case may be. And the reality is, it's a missed opportunity on a lot of levels, right? Not only just selling product, but taking care of your customer on that next level, right? Which is setting them up for success. And there's a lot of guys that get really angry with customers about what they do to their car after they've coated it. If you don't give them the answer to the test, it's not their fault. It's that simple. Okay. If you're not going to maintain it or don't have the capacity to, that's fine. But now you're in an education and product sales position. Now you can be in both, right? You can maintain cars and have guys that like to maintain their cars and carry products. But in this particular case, it was a little bit, I would say, frustrating moment for you and I, because this is somebody as an installer that we know knows better. And many of you listening to this know better, but you're not solving the problem for your clients. You're just bitching about that they tore their car up. I'm telling you, if you don't make it easy for them and you don't make it part of your process to sell them something and give them a way to maintain their car, or you're not going to do it for them, there's almost a 0% chance of success rate. Yeah. It's that simple.
We love the win-win, right? That's the thing we always say. Always look for a win-win. So who loses in this situation? Who wins? Right? That's the question that I really want to say, that this becomes the crutch of it. It becomes that moment where people really got to understand, okay, am I just trying to be sold and I need to carry some stuff? You know, I know there's people that are going to question that. Well, who wins? Right? We're thinking about that ecosystem. We're thinking about how to become a specialist in your area. Who loses? It's your customer. It's the person that gets the coating that has no way of maintaining the coating. No way. Unless he just goes out and does, which, as we would get into, watch some people on YouTube or just watch somebody and they're just left out in the wind to try and figure out what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. So here's another thing. If you have enough customers, hold something once a month. You know, hey, come and learn how to take care of your car. We're going to go over the exterior this week and the interior next week, and we'll do a more detailed version, next month, I should say, on how to clean your wheels more thoroughly. Guys, there's all these little business support things that if you don't do them, you're going to lose in the end. I would always tell you, I'd rather you make the money and maintain the vehicles, whether that's monthly or quarterly or whatever it is that you can fit into your schedule. There's hundreds of you, thousands of you that think to yourself, I'm not going to do that. Cool, man. There's no argument to have. You're not going to do it. So sell them a package and a process to take care of their car. Otherwise, you have no right to be mad they went through the car wash. You have no right to be mad they didn't do exactly what they should have done, because you're leaving people who are not experts in detailing to basically replicate what you have told everybody is valuable and why they should pay you to do their car. So you're telling me they should just know, when you're telling me how much of an expert you are and how, detailed this is and people don't understand. I'm with you there, but many of you guys are just letting these people flap in the wind and getting pissed off because they wrecked their coating or wrecked their car or didn't take care of it on an elite level. But first of all, you missed out on money on both fronts. Let's just talk about it from a business perspective. If you don't maintain the cars, again, monthly, quarterly, whatever, if you don't sell them products, if you don't give them a process, you don't keep them coming back buying products, you're the one that loses the money. Because this guy, for an example, he still came to us. I wish that local detailer would have been the guy to sell him all the stuff. I don't want to be the guy selling him the stuff. I want the detailer to be cut in on all this. But the detailer knows better, I guess. And now we have a lifelong customer, and maybe that detail shop doesn't. Because I don't think he was real thrilled about being left out in the wind.
No, but it does happen if you don't take that opportunity. So seize the moment, take the opportunity, and it won't happen to you.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get into it. All right. Let's get into the video that we want to talk about and into DA versus Rotary.
Yeah, big weekend, man. Boy, oh boy. I mean, we have these things happen from time to time, right, Marty? Where it's just like DMs get on fire, text messages, people are calling, people are any way to reach out. What the hell am I looking at? All different walks of life, from veterans to beginners to intermediate to DIYers. We kind of heard from everybody, right?
And, the guy's been around. You and I have been around 40 something plus years together. He's been around quite a while too. So as I listened to it, I immediately started, right, internally going, wrong, right? But it's his right to put it out. It's his right. But wrong information. And that's where I started going, whoa, hold on. How does this guy, I mean, he's been around, like I said, a long time, bounced from a couple brands. Now he's on his own. It's wonderful. Good for you. Putting out just false information. So let's go over exactly that false information. You and I both started with the Rotary. Love the Rotary. For what?
Yep.
What is it that we love the Rotary for?
Cutting down paint.
Cutting down paint.
Yeah. Cut and buff. Here's the video in a nutshell. A DA cuts better than a Rotary. That's a wild statement, man. That's a wild statement. It's not true. It's not even close to being true. It's not even valuable information on any level, right? Because, again, there's a lot of paints you and I have cut over the years, and many of you listening that have used Rotary, that in one pass you can mow down a clear coat on some of these cars. I don't remember a single time where I only took one pass trying to cut with a DA. I also don't remember ever burning paint with a DA. So that tells you which one burns a little quicker on the cut. I've seen a lot of burnt paint from a Rotary. I mean, we all make fun of the dealership and burning an edge and why are these guys using Rotary? I think when you start to peel the onion a little bit, you start to realize there's a lot of things being said online that if you don't know any better, you have no choice but to believe unless you start to do a little digging and doing a little thinking.
Okay, so let's peel
and that's
that
unfortunate.
Onion. Yeah, let's peel that onion. Rotary. Let's go to the basics of Rotary and a DA. Just to find out the differences between the two. Why would you say then, after we define them out, why would it be very black and white that a Rotary, besides what you mentioned, we might have seen something, core basics of the tool itself, why does a Rotary cut faster, cut more aggressive, is a better, deeper cut?
Yeah, let's try to leave it really simply. One's direct drive into the tool, right? So a Rotary, that's going right down into the pad, straight into the pad, ready to go.
If we don't know what direct drive means, right? So motor, shaft, you know,
into the pad. Okay. There's no oscillating. There's no moving around. This thing is essentially on a gear, and it's never stopping. It's never stalling. It's always moving. That's why you get burnt edges, by the way. That's why you get burns. Think of a truck bed like a Chevy. You get burns on the body line. You know why? The thing doesn't stop moving. It's always going to move, and that's why you get burnt trim pieces. That, right? It doesn't matter what you do. That thing's always going to spin. You think of a DA, and let's just go with the most popular 21 millimeter tool out there. You get on a body line, it'll just stop spinning, right? It'll stop. It'll just stall is the word everyone uses. And it oscillates, right? Remember, it's not going in a perfectly round circle. It's oscillating at 21 millimeter. That's what the throw is, right? The throw is the oscillation of the tool. A great tool. The Rotary is a great tool. They have different realities. And so now you get into this thing where somebody wants to do a hot take on the internet because they want to get a like or they want to get fake interaction on their page. And we just magically make up false things about tools. Anybody that's ever used a Rotary for 5 seconds will be like, I can hammer some paint with this thing. you put a DA in your hand, you're like, this is pretty smooth. This is like no worry. If I get on an edge, it's just going to stop. I mean, it's pretty brainless, right? When you use a DA compared to you use a rotary and you stop thinking for a second, you could burn a whole edge. You could burn a truck bed. You can do a lot of damage. You can't do hardly any damage with a DA.
The only side of a DA that I thought about that maybe you could give the case for is like a 3401, right? That gear driven, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, but that's not, that'd be a forced rotation. That's a whole different tool, right? And that's only like a 7mm throw. I mean, it's very small. I mean, so that's not even considered by most people a dual action. That's a forced rotation machine. You could do some damage with it, but it'd still take you a long time to do damage with that tool.
All right, so let's go into the specifics of a DA then, right? Because that stall is ultimately what made me want to throw my DAs and some early brands that I started using, right? Like, just couldn't stand that stall out because I was
because you grew up on a rotary.
Because I was used to a rotary. I love the fact that I could always just keep moving and keep going. And, I was a guy that would pick up a bead line and I would never turn my tool off.
Yep.
When it comes then to the specifics of the DA, as I started to hear more of it, what would we think? What, like 2014, 15 maybe? A little before.
I mean, look, they were like,
all right.
Yeah. I mean, look, no, you're right. I mean, look, we're talking about, let's just use a number. Let's just say 10 plus years.
Yeah.
That
early first moment, I couldn't understand how I was gonna get a cut.
Yeah.
From the basics and the way they
very low torque, low torque,
and even going up to Colorado and being at a training there that we led together with a DA manufacturer, like specific talks were of the way that their DA was made to not even mimic. They didn't want to even be a part of that other world and cut fast and be a great. It was all
until
about
they made a rotary.
Finesse, right? It was all about finesse. Until they made a rotary.
Yeah. They were staunchly against the rotary. They can rewrite history whatever they want. But I remember when their tool came out, and it's a great tool. Once you understood it at the time, it was hard to understand because all of us were rotary guys. And, we, like you said, you hardly turned the tool off. It was like, pick the bead up, go, put another bead down, go. It was highly efficient if you got good at it. This was now a whole different level of finesse. You had to worry about body lines, not from burning, but to keep the tool spinning. And I want everybody to understand. I understand if you have two actions, it's a dual action, but a lot of people label forced rotation machines like the 3401 from Flex differently than they do a Rupes, where a Rupes is a free spinning tool. It is not a forced rotation. And so at the end of the day, here's the great part about it. We have all of these choices in detailing. We now have more tools in the toolbox than we've ever had. We got battery, we got corded, we got, great rotaries, and we got great DAs and great forced rotation. There's no reason to make outlandish statements about any of the tools. I can make them all work. You can make them all work. It's okay. We get to this place, and this is where we've gotten in detailing. And by the way, I understand it's happening everywhere. So don't just think this is detailing, where everybody wants the nonsense to stop, but they don't want to call nonsense, right? They don't want to say enough is enough. And where we're at now, when you make a comment like a DA cuts better than a rotary, if I put him on a hood the same size as the hood I'm doing and he's doing it with a DA, who do you think is going to cut the defects out faster? It's no contest. I'll give him a wool pad. I'll have a wool pad. I'll buzz over. All my defects will be gone in the matter of just minutes. His may be 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Mine's going to be 4 minutes. Cuts better is this really, really, really strange thing to say. And I heard from a lot of people that all they do is refinish the nicest cars in the world. Do you think guys that are doing this 8 and 10 hours a day for the last 20, 30 years, some of these guys, if there was a better way, they wouldn't sign up for it tomorrow? Of course they would. Of course they would.
So, Nick, you and I both like chicken wings, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely love some chicken wings. You ever brine your chicken wings?
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens when you mess up your brine? What happens to those chicken wings?
Yeah. You can start cooking them.
Oof, they ain't good when they turn out, is what happens.
Yeah.
So I recently was trying to update my skill set and learn some stuff about chicken wings and how to do them better. What did I do? I went on YouTube. I watched somebody, watched multiple people. Something caught my attention from one guy, and the wings were so bad that we had to throw them out. They were terrible. We couldn't eat them. What happens, right? What happens when you've got somebody that, they started they started really growing into their, whatever they wanted to do, right? In whatever career. And this guy has a dream. He has this dream about this. Let's say he wants an Audi, right? He wants an R8. Don't blame him. Man, he's so excited. We're so many years. Finally, that day arises and he gets his car. He watches a video from somebody that he thinks might, right? I thought those chicken wings would turn out good. The cost of damage of chicken wings versus somebody that really wants to care for their vehicle that they've worked so hard to get. And you just go, whew.
Well, think about your reputation as a pro if you listen to this. You call a company, you start making these statements that you saw on the internet. You going to appear professional? Let's say you screw up a customer's car. What people don't realize, a DA with heavy cut, you can heat up some paint. Actually cooler to use a rotary, which means it's a little bit safer if you know what you're doing. Okay? So if you think you can't screw up a car trying to do a heavy cut with a DA, I got news for you. Start swelling some paint. Try to take water spots out with a heavy DA cut and heat up that paint. And 2 days later, your customer calls and says all the water spots are back. Because all you did was heat up the paint. It looked like they were gone. The paint cools down and you go, oh shit, I didn't cut any of them out. As a professional, that's pretty embarrassing. Like you said, you're talking about a DIY guy that could screw his car up because he listens to the wrong guy. You got the same thing on the professional side of things. I don't even know why we have to go down this road. Like I said, all three of these types of tools have their place. And you can have individual conversations about all of them. If you're trying to grow your business, let me tell you, it's going to be hard to teach your guys how to cut with rotary. It's going to be a steeper learning curve. I don't think it's that steep, but it's steeper. So if you want to say, hey, it's safer for me to grow my team and teach them how to properly cut with a DA and finish with the DA, I'm here for that argument. That's probably factually correct. But when you just throw out outlandish things, and I'm getting DMs and texts and guys want me to defend things, it's like, I'm not here to defend anybody anymore. The bottom line is, I see a lot of guys playing games on the internet that if guys heard the story, I mean, how classic is this? So-and-so did this. He shows a bunch of Facebook posts. You talk to him behind the scenes, he's got no money. You talk to him behind the scenes, that's not the real story. Guys, that is the majority of what's happening online. All we can do is tell you on this podcast consistently, the internet's an awesome place. I bet you have found some good ways to cook some chicken wings off the internet. I bet you have found good ways to do things in life. Fix a toilet, fix a sink. There's some positive, a lot of positive about the internet. But the fact of the matter is, that's the rarity. That is not the majority. And all we can do is bring it to light and continue to say, guys, at some point in time, your life's going to be dictated in business, taking care of your car, taking care of your house, taking care of your finances by surrounding yourself and listening to the right people. And when somebody says something like this, me personally knowing what I know now, he would be disqualified for me ever listening to him again. It would just be a disqualification. Say, hey, seems like a nice guy, but I just can't listen to this because it's just factually not correct.
So, but he's got a YouTube channel, man. He's got a social media. He's got a business. He's been around a while. Don't those things qualify? Because as we tell people that, hey, you got to go dig into people. You got to go see what they've been up to, right? This is something we talk about heavy is really trying to dig in to find out about people so that you can see if what they're saying is true. You get to a moment like this.
Let me tell you what digging in really is, though. Dig into why somebody would make this video, and you do 5 seconds of research and you realize, oh, he's releasing a DA tool that's going to be quote unquote longer throw than ever seen in the industry. And now you start to see the ulterior motives. So it's not just digging into whether somebody has the experience or what is the motive. Is the motive genuine? Then that's great. I can say it took me 5 seconds to go, okay. And by the way, I just read through the comments where he basically said this. Then I was caught up to speed. And the way I explained it, we were talking to somebody that's on our team at hyperCLEAN earlier. Guys, the easiest way I can explain this is chess is a really fun game when you know how to play chess and you're playing it on a chessboard. If you're on the chessboard and you're trying to play checkers, it becomes really frustrating and you lose pretty quickly, right? So people always use the analogy, play chess, not checkers. If I put somebody on the chessboard that doesn't know how to play chess and they know how to play checkers and they try to play checkers on the chessboard, that's the most frustrated you can be. So did you go look and figure out why he would say this? Not whether he was just qualified, because you're right. That's the first step. He is qualified in some way, shape, or form. You're right. If I looked at surface level, 100%. But when I say dig into the motive was right there in the post. I didn't have to go looking for it. I found it in the post, in the video, going down through the comments. And everybody's allowed to have a motive. I'm not bashing the fact somebody has a motive, but do you think just maybe that would be the motive for somebody making a statement like this? Because now they're going to come out and say the reason you can cut faster with the DA is because I'm making a bigger orbited tool.
And which is fine, right? Good for him.
100%.
Good for him. I've been in the tool game. I'm glad we're not in the tool game anymore.
Tough game.
Tough game. Good for him. Go play all you want there, buddy. You know, where does it really impact the industry? Does it? You know, why would two guys, you and I, have this moment to where we go, listen, whenever we see this stuff, we always got to call it. We always got to talk about it. Why? That there becomes then that more deeper discussion of why do two guys want to call out somebody in a sense and say, hey, you're wrong. You're wrong. Why? There's something else that goes on in the industry. It's called snake oil. It's another part of the industry. Nick, you're not a big fan of snake oil, are you? I don't think most people in the industry would say, and they would raise their hands and they would be like, me, I'm in. I love snake oil. Love it. Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of the best things our industry's known about.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's so many of us that complain about the industry. Things need to be better. We have all these associations. I mean, we're up to like 10,000 of them now that are going to help everybody. What if we just said,
hey, I'm pretty sure this guy has been on their boards and he's actively promoting the associations too.
But that shows you, like, this stuff has very low value. And it has low value because it's only as good as somebody's integrity to say things that they can stand behind. That doesn't mean I need to agree with everyone. I don't think you believe that either. I love when people give me a different perspective on detailing a car. I don't have any issue with that. When you blatantly lie about how tools work, you're no longer giving an opinion. You're just making up how tools work. When we all know factually, because those of us that have been through it, those of us that are competent in both tools know, dude, I can hop on a car and cut it in a matter of minutes when it's going to take you 4 and 5 passes at a time. I'm already done with the hood. You're still on the first section. It's okay that these tools work differently. But you get into this place, man, where everyone's scared. Everyone doesn't want to say anything definitively. They don't want to come out and say, come on, man, let's do better. Nobody's saying to anybody, we're not perfect. I'm not asking other people to be perfect. I have some opinions that those of you listening may not agree with. That's fine. Some things are opinion. How a tool works is not opinion. It's an actual physical machine that we know which one works the way it works. There's no question about it. I called and texted a bunch of people with a bunch of experience who have no skin in the game. All they do is cut paint for a living. They couldn't have laughed quicker and harder. This isn't Nick's opinion or Marty's opinion. This is just what you know if you have the experience. And there's many of you that have never worked with a rotary. So this could sound like, wow, we've really advanced that far. No, a direct drive tool is always going to be more efficient when you want to cut out defects. Ask the guys that work on boats. Ask the guys that work on things that are hard to cut. They're not grabbing a DA. There may be people pushing that agenda from a training perspective. Go talk to those people that have hard surfaces to cut. I guarantee you they're not reaching for a DA. So this isn't just about car paint. This is about painted surfaces that can be corrected. And every single person that knows what they're talking about is going to say, oh yeah, dude, I can cut and buff something so quick with a rotary. It's not as quick, but I really do like my large throw tool. I use it for this and this and this. See, it's not about demonizing something. It's about where does this tool fit in an arsenal, and why can't we have a competent conversation about it?
Well, and why can't we, as you and I have taken heat in the past, why can't we have open conversations? You know, I'm ready for the people that are close and heavy into community, people that send us this stuff, people that are also starting to get very frustrated. Many of them have been frustrated, but there's many more as the community continues to expand of where they're understanding just it's black and white of right and wrong. You know, at some point in time, if you love what the industry is, if you love where we're going, there becomes a right and wrong to this. And I love the analogy of muddying up your stream, or, you know, having too much crap out there really does hurt us overall as an industry.
Yeah, it always has, right? You look at all of everybody listening would have no problem bashing the dealership industry. No problem. What's been the problem in the dealership industry? Nobody wants to call BS in the leaders of these dealership world. They just all go along with it. That's been the problem. It isn't that they don't know how to fix it. Most of the principals at big dealership groups, they know how to fix all of it. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to fix it. They don't want to fix it. They don't agree with the money it's going to take to fix it. They don't want to lose out on money. But don't think for a second the dealership industry doesn't know what it's doing. They're worth literally billions of dollars. They know what they're doing. But from us on the outside to judge that industry, how do you judge it? A bunch of people, none of which stand up. We know the NADA is not going to stand up and fix any problem. The National Auto Dealers Association, they're just going to lobby to keep everything, like you say, muddy, because that's what they're going to do. So as a detailer, if you're judging that industry, you got to judge your industry harsher. You got to say, I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to watch this person's content. I'm not going to buy things from these types of individuals. Because if you don't, you're supporting that. You're supporting the snake oil. And that's where you really get into the problem with any industry. A lot of guys love to think detailing is this separate world. Every industry, if people don't stand up and speak about it, whatever the thing is, then it's just going to go on in perpetuity. It's just going to go on forever, right? And I'm not trying to say, you know, that's what we're doing is we're fixing anything. We're just bringing attention because we know you guys are sending this stuff and you guys are interested in somebody talking about it. I'm not going to fix anything. Marty and Nick can't fix anything on our own. We can bring attention to stuff. We can have a conversation so those of you that are confused maybe get a little bit more education on it and feel a little bit more comfortable going in a certain direction. But Marty, you and I both know what I've watched in my career is I've watched an industry been given the world from where we started. and we can't seem to get over the hump and get into this legitimacy. And everybody scratches their head like, how do we make detailing legitimate? Well, if you're seen as snake oil salesman, you're not going to get legitimacy. Now, you can put lipstick on a pig and maybe get that out of the realm, but big companies don't want to do business with. It's one thing if you're an auto dealer, you've been in business 100 years and you're doing snake oil. Detailing industry has been around competently for 20, 30 years. You're not baked into the system yet, right? So you got to do things on a level that people feel like is additive to them. And if you don't, this is what you get. You get a very niche of the car industry looking around thinking that everyone has the answer, but nobody wants to talk competently about the right things to do to a car.
And ultimately, when people listen to the wrong person, then you get into bad problems, right? Like,
Yep.
And ultimately that's what we're trying to help solve and help people not do it. Now, help's an interesting word, right? Help's an interesting word. One that we don't like to necessarily say as much anymore, because there used to be this theory that we're all out here to help each other. No, help sometimes goes black and white. You're wrong. Like sometimes help gets a little bit aggressive so that, listen, we can grow further. We can actually achieve more. We can create new things. I love it that people want to do these big things, whatever, what do they call it? Like splash marketing or whatever it's called, flash marketing or, cool. You got some views. Great. All good. Man, I will say my opinion. Stop with the lies. Just that's where we gotta stop.
It's just not even worth it, right? Like at the end of the day, man, if you have an opinion, just say, my opinion is I prefer to cut with the DA. That's my preference. That's fine. I don't have a problem with somebody's preference. The minute you say it works better than a rotary and I can prove it to you, and the new technology you don't understand, it's like, no, I understand. But what you're doing is you're preying on people that are just getting their start or just trying to understand or just trying to better themselves. And that's where the internet really harms guys. We call this all the time as we see it. You don't realize how harmful the internet can really be. It can be freaking awesome, but it can be so goddamn harmful that if you don't know that, you are not playing chess and you have no hope of being competent at chess. If you don't, and that doesn't mean be cynical about everything and be like, I hate everyone on the internet. Nobody's telling you that.
Oh yeah. Don't go attack people. Huh?
Yeah. It's like, hey man, just know who to step back from, who to run towards, who to align yourself with. Really, like I said, dig into the post. You can see what this was all about. To sell a tool, which I guarantee you is not anywhere near the level of the tools that are on the market. And we can guess where it's made and we can guess who's making it. It takes another 5 minutes of research for me to figure that out? Like at the end of the day, man, nobody's hating on anybody. Nobody's trying to bash anybody. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation competently, publicly about this. Magically, we never get taken up on that offer. I'd be glad to hear it out. I'd be glad to bring it to the forefront. But you guys notice that when people say they're offended by something that's been said on this podcast or others or a YouTube channel, they never pop up and say, hey, how do we do something publicly so we can debate this? That's healthy, because I would welcome that with open arms. Hey, let's debate. Tell me why everybody that's the best and has tested everything would disagree with you. Now you're going against the best in the world that do this. That is like going against guys like, Jordan and LeBron and saying they don't know how to dribble properly. Like, there's guys that have spent 30 years holding a machine 10 hours a day. Are we really saying to ourselves they don't know what they're talking about? That you have some new magic sauce everybody's unaware of? Cool, man. Are you going to put up on that? Are you going to put up on that, or are you just going to go on and say these things and muddy the waters and make people more confused? After this episode, no one should be confused. All these tools are awesome. A rotary, when competently used, and you need to hammer some paint, grab the rotary. If you want an easy way to finish, man, a DA can make it really easy and relaxing on you. A forced rotation can give you the best of both worlds, but kind of in between, right? And they all have a place. And you got to pick the ones you like, and you got to build the systems around the ones you want to build your systems around. I don't care if you're a DIYer in your garage or a professional. One's not right and one's not wrong. They do have strengths and weaknesses, though. And that's most tools in your garage. You grab the wrong wrench, it don't work so well on that part, right? So you have multiple wrenches, and that one works really well, and this one doesn't. That's okay. But that doesn't get you clicks if I just put that clip out there, does it? I got to say something outlandish to get a click, to get a like, to help my social media grow. That's the view behind the game there.
Speaking of wrenches, hey, I was rounding out my fuel pump that I'm trying to change out on the Wagoneer. Realized, there's this new style of wrench, I guess. It has these little rivets there, you know.
Yeah. Well,
hey,
I think the big thing is I'm really thinking about, should you be wrenching on a car or maybe going to driving school? I mean, we're trying to, you're wrenching on a car while you can't back up a truck. I mean, are we putting the cart before the horse here? I mean, you know what I mean? By the way, you weren't in a dark alley you've never been in. We're talking about the place you back out of 8,000 times a week. I mean, are we maybe screwing up the order of operations here?
Well, I don't know if I want to tell you how many times I've hit that pole either. All right. Well, what a great episode, guys. Hey, thanks so much.
That's funny.
All right. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you.
All right, guys.